Donald Trump is on the back foot for the first time in forever. He is playing defense. Donald Trump just got baited into a meltdown by Vice President Kamala Harris, and it's becoming increasingly clear that VP Harris learned from the mistakes of Hillary Clinton back in 2016 and has refined the strategy when it comes to Donald Trump. Now, something I talk a lot about on the show is how VP Harris doesn't let Trump put her on the defense or put her on her back foot, where Hillary Clinton, for example, spent her entire campaign defending herself, explaining that Donald Trump was wrong, trying to debunk his conspiracy theories, and biting every time Donald Trump put out the bait, and it didn't succeed, obviously. Now, VP Harris isn't doing that. She's not reacting. She's not even flinching. Donald Trump can call her a comrade or a communist or a Marxist. She doesn't once bite or explain that that is not true, and the best part is, it is driving Donald Trump crazy. VP Kamala Harris has done it again, and I want to break it all down. Let's not waste any time. Make sure you leave a like on this video, and make sure you subscribe to this channel so you can be a part of this beautiful community. So to begin, you guys are all aware of the insane controversy that happened at Arlington National Cemetery with Donald Trump's campaign staffers. His staffers are trying to take a photo in a federally prohibited area. You can't take photography there, and the Trump staffer apparently assaulted a worker at Arlington National Cemetery near Section 60. Just an absurd story that only reinforces the fact that Donald Trump and his staffers don't actually care about people who worked for our country. Donald Trump also says this insane stuff about the Medal of Honor. And J.D. Vance is the one who actually admitted that it was an altercation. Let me play this clip of J.D. Vance saying that there was an altercation.
Well, I think, first of all, the altercation at Arlington Cemetery is the media creating a story where I really don't think that there is one. There is verifiable evidence.
This guy gives me the heebie-jeebie. There's verifiable evidence that J.D. Vance just said there was an altercation.
There is verifiable evidence that the campaign was allowed to have a photographer there.
So his strategy isn't to say that there wasn't an altercation. His strategy is to say the altercation was justified because we actually had access to that area.
There's verifiable, they were invited to have a photographer there. There's verifiable evidence that the families of these poor people who had their loved ones die 3 years ago at Abbey Road, they had, Abbey Gate, those 13 Americans, a lot of them were there with the president. They invited him to be there and to support them.
Abbey Road is a Beatles album. I mean, this guy just can't get his stuff straight. So, this brings us to today, when Harris says that Trump disrespected sacred ground in Arlington altercation. And this is one of the first times in the campaign that VP Harris has directly engaged with something that Donald Trump said. So, it's getting incredibly interesting. And it's actually really clever because she's not biting on one of Donald Trump's nicknames. She is lunging at the opportunity to rip Donald Trump apart. Trump's campaign staffers reportedly took photos and recorded at Arlington National Cemetery, despite officials warning them not to, and there were reports that the Trump campaign staffers were repeatedly warned not to, but just like Donald Trump, I guess they have this egomaniacal streak where they think they are above the law. Vice President Kamala Harris on Saturday condemned the altercation that occurred this week at Arlington National Cemetery between Donald Trump campaign staffers and cemetery officials. Quote, "Let me be clear, the former president disrespected sacred ground all for the sake of a political stunt," VP Kamala Harris wrote on Twitter in a long statement. And can I just say, this is a very clever way to take advantage of the news cycle. So Donald Trump is the one that is known for taking advantage of the headlines and blowing up small things and turning it into a national story. Now, VP Harris is taking this Arlington National Cemetery story about a week after it happens, when it starts to die down in the news cycle. It happened 5 or 6 days ago on Monday, and as it's dying down in the news cycle, VP Kamala Harris blows it back up, which I think is clever. I think that is the campaign strategy here. As vice president, I have had the privilege of visiting Arlington National Cemetery several times, Kamala Harris said. It is a solemn place, a place where we come together to honor American heroes who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service of this nation. It is not a place for politics. And yet, as was reported this week, Donald Trump's team team chose to film a video there, resulting in an altercation with cemetery staff. Let me be clear, the former president disrespected sacred ground all for the sake of a political stunt. This is nothing new from Donald Trump. This is a man who has called our fallen service members suckers and losers, and disparaged Medal of Honor recipients, as I talked about earlier. A man who, during a previous visit to the cemetery, reportedly said of fallen service members, quote, "I don't get it. What was in it for them?" This is a man who is unable to comprehend anything other than service to himself. If there is one thing on which we as Americans can all agree, it is that our veterans, military families, and service members should be honored, never disparaged, and treated with nothing less than our highest respect and gratitude. It is my belief that someone who cannot meet this simple, sacred duty should never again stand behind the seal of President of the United States of America. I will always honor the service and sacrifice all of America's fallen heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of our beloved nation and cherished freedoms. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted because in the replies, I see Laura Loomer, Donald Trump's worst sycophant ever, saying, "Hey, you stupid, brain-dead, lying bitch," at Kamala Harris. "Isn't this you?" And brain-dead Joe Biden. I love how mad VP Harris makes these unhinged, delusional freaks. I mean, VP Kamala Harris said something completely rational, and we have a MAGA lunatic in the replies being a weirdo, but this was a very concise, poignant message which dissects Donald Trump and his lack of care for veterans, and I think it is a perfect way from a campaigning standpoint to recapture the headlines right as the story might have fallen out of the news cycle. The alleged incident occurred during a wreath-laying ceremony on Monday to honor U.S. troops killed during the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan 3 years ago. And I have more good information here, but I really quickly want to hop over to Truth Social, where Donald Trump won't stop posting about the Arlington National Cemetery incident. So first of all, let's just go down to 50 minutes ago, less than an hour ago. Donald Trump said, "Comrade Kamala Harris lied about working at McDonald's. She never worked there. They think she's nuts. Likewise, she lied about fracking, the border, crime, the economy, blah, 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 Democrat suckers and hoax. She also lied about Arlington National Cemetery and Afghanistan. She lied about everything." Donald Trump will not stop posting about it. He is also posting all of these sergeants saying stuff to the effect of Donald Trump didn't offend us. Then he posted a 5-minute news segment. This is only 44 minutes ago. This is all within the hour. A 5-minute news segment that he thinks is defending
earlier
him.
this week, there was a ceremony at Arlington Cemetery for.
So Donald Trump is living rent-free in his head. He just posted another news segment a few hours ago. If it'll play here, it won't play, but it says Trump campaign incident in Arlington National Cemetery. Donald Trump continues to post all of this stuff about Arlington National Cemetery because he is letting the news cycle get away from him. And let me just point out, let me bring it back to how I opened this video. This comes in stark contrast to how Hillary Clinton ran her campaign because Donald Trump is now on the back foot. Donald Trump is on the back foot for the first time in forever. He is playing defense. He is posting all of these videos, mother of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, and they're all saying Donald Trump is great for the military, Donald Trump loves veterans, Donald Trump loves all of these veterans. So it's funny to see him playing defense, and he's doing an interview tonight at 8 p.m. Make sure you have post notifications on my channel because I'm going to be covering that interview in depth and breaking down what he says. But back to this article. PR reported that 2 Trump staffers on Monday verbally abused and then pushed aside an official who told them to stop photographing a part of the cemetery where recently fallen U.S. service members are buried. And this is the interesting part right here. Federal law prohibits, quote, political campaign or election-related activities, including photographs within Army, national, military cemeteries, according to a statement from cemetery officials. Sources told NPR that staffers were informed ahead of time that they couldn't take photos at the gravesite, and this is the important part. Sources told NPR that staffers were informed ahead of time that they couldn't take photos at the gravesite. That lies in direct contradiction to what J.D. Vance said. He called it an altercation and tried to justify it by saying that they had the right to do that, but they did not at all. A few days later, Trump's campaign posted a video to TikTok that featured a montage of the former president participating in the ceremony and making clearly political statements, like boasting about how his administration didn't lose one person in 18 months. Clearly a political statement. He posted this TikTok video after this altercation took place. The cemetery, which is a resting place for over 400,000 service members, veterans, and their family members, is, quote, not a place for politics, Harris said. said. But the incident is not surprising coming from Donald Trump, she added, given the disparaging comments the former president has made about service members. Trump's campaign spokesperson has denied that a physical altercation occurred. Stephen Chung, the man who denies that Trump blends babies and shouts in 12-year-old faces like Mike Lindell, now says that he didn't actually have an altercation, which also lies in direct contradiction to what J.D. Vance previously said. Either way, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, comment a blue heart, hit that subscribe button so you can be a part of this beautiful community, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.